What's up, gamers? Barnes here. This is my buddy Chris Bernard.
Hi.
He's one of the PCs in my Rise of the Rune Lords campaign. And why don't you tell us about your character?
My character's name is Kako Kolini. He is a Hellbred Vow of Poverty fighter.
Why don't you tell people about what a Hellbred is if they don't know?
A Hellbred is a damned soul who committed a corrupt, evil act in his life, and his soul is bound to hell. But through the means of divine intervention, he is given a second chance to walk on the earth and quell evil.
So he's originally from the Nine Hells, and he was from an area in the Nine Hells where sinners that were guilty of the sin of greed were kept to do their eternal suffering, and that's where you come from. And you haven't had any possessions since the beginning of the campaign.
No, I have
per
not.
se.
I've donated all my possessions to charity.
That was another thing. I instituted a game mechanic variant from I heard from Azric83 Aaron. He had said he had heard on a forum this variant about donating gold to charity and getting XPs for it, and I decided to use that variant in my campaign, Rise of the Rune Lords, in order to further PC interest in the town of Sandpoint, and also to steer them in the direction of good, also limit the amount of equipment and materials they can go adventuring with. And you've donated all your money.
Everything.
Everything.
Everything I've ever received. I've never actually handled most of the money, as my share of the treasure is simply donated to
The orphanage.
the orphanage or the church or
Right.
reconstruction of the town.
Alright, and your character also has the Vow of Chastity
Yes, yes.
on top of the Vow of Poverty.
He witnessed a rape that was extremely traumatic to him, and he took a vow of chastity.
He just witnessed it.
He just witnessed it. He wasn't raped. He was
Wow.
simply had to see it, and it's struck him as being so deplorably disgusting that he had no choice.
But to
Take a vow of chastity.
gotcha. Now your character is notoriously for throwing everything in harm's way and putting others before him. Is there a PC in the party you haven't rescued?
Currently there is, but from the original party that began this campaign, I've rescued every single one of them.
From death?
From death, yeah.
Or being able
Or tried.
to try. Alright. There was one interesting situation with Quill, where we tried to rescue Quill, and Kako put Quill on his back and advertently used Quill as a meat shield,
Inadvertently.
and Quill quickly earned her name as she got filled with arrows in her back.
That was a traumatic experience for my character. He felt entirely responsible that he didn't do enough to save her life.
Now your character does that a lot. He feels responsible for others' actions that aren't his, simply because he was in the proximity of when the event took place.
Yeah.
But that was a special circumstances where you were directly involved. Let's talk about your character's bucket list.
My character's main goal in life is basically, ironically, the afterlife, and reaching Celestia and having his soul cleansed and freed from the grips of the hells is priority number one.
And as a Hellbred, you feel tainted.
I do. I'm visibly tainted. I mean, I'm kind of a frightening character.
Let's describe your appearance.
My character has shiny black skin. We did during character creation, we decided to do a random roll of a bunch of different devils to determine which one kind of resembled, took on the properties of, and it came up as a black Abishai. So he kind of looks, he's black, shiny skinned. There's an air of brimstone about him. Sometimes smoke comes out of his mouth. He's about 6'3", 225 pounds. Those stats were randomly rolled. Yeah, and that's about it. He wears rags virtually, doesn't he?
Right, right. Um, and he's often approached by commoners with diabolical questions about the hells,
Mm-hmm.
um, which angers him to some
It
extent.
does. It's irksome.
Um, but that comes with the rule of playing Hellbred.
It does.
Um, let's talk about the last session. Uh, how did you feel about the last session?
I thought the last session was fun. I was glad like it went into I've been playing since I was 7 years old, and I'm 35 now, so I have a lot of D&D experience, and I like it when undead become involved and it takes on the macabre, like horror, like
Mm-hmm.
aspect. I thought the module was fun. I thought it was cool that you got. Also, it was a nice actually luxury at the end, realizing that you got XPs for. All those interactions, the phantasms and stuff in every room, and
Haunts.
I'm glad we kind of searched every room, to be honest.
Right, right.
Um, Even though it seemed like a mind scrape at the time. But yeah, like I said, I like the gothic, like undead horror feel.
Cool. And you had saved the cleric and dragged Pete's body out of there.
Sure.
Um, versus the fight versus the Revenant.
Mm-hmm.
You chose not to go toe to toe with the Revenant.
Well, because the cleric went down so early, and I felt like obviously it would be my character's doesn't matter. He'll take nth amount of attacks of opportunity to save someone's life. If my character dies, I don't care. Ultimately, right. I mean, even as a player outside of it. So I know some people get really attached to their characters, but I mean, don't get me wrong, it would suck having to start over when everyone's 5th level. But
Now you've complained in the past that you're unsatisfied with how the party maneuvers through dungeons and hallways and houses and such, and particularly the marching order. Would you like to elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, the party dynamic here, due to the fact that there are a lot of new players who haven't played before, so therefore they're not going to be as tactful as some of the graybeards.
Right.
But everybody just kind of it's chaos. There's no leader in this party because no one can be, because there's no, when you try to have dialogue and make up decision making on what you should do, people are just talking all over each other, and whoever is louder, ultimately everyone just shuts up because they're done tolerating, like, listening to this person, and he'll go on, and then those people are just like to the point where they're like, oh, whatever, I'll do that, fine, okay, let's do it. That gets irritating. I like there to be a little bit more structure, and there is with the people who've played for a while.
We've had 16 different people.
Yeah, 16.
And in the last few months, which is cool, but
it is cool because I do enjoy opening people's eyes to the game. I feel like I don't know, playing so long, I feel some kind of responsibility to keep up its good name and to recruit new players, and I love watching people get excited about it. And because ultimately and to teach them in the beginning that role playing is the most important part of this game, not making the most OP character you can, because that's easy.
Let's talk about why you chose to make this character.
Well, that's why I Vow of Poverty, and ultimately, since I've been playing so long, making OP characters is easy,
Right.
And when you do that, it's irritating to the dungeon master, and I didn't realize that until I had my own campaign, and the same players that I played with who do that were doing it to me, and it's annoying, and it makes it for it's cool because you're trying to outwit everybody, each other, the DM, the players, going back and forth, but ultimately in the end, everyone gets slighted because you're making the game too
And it leads to power GMing.
Power GMing,
which is a subject I'll get into in another video.
And those two things combined equal nulling role playing, and that's it. And I think that role playing is the most important aspect. So making a character that's really hard on yourself, in my situation, I'm not saying it's as hard as it can be, because it's not. I could have done a few other things to make it really difficult. But I know about poverty. Like, by the end, I'm going to be underpowered, but I don't care because I'm one die roll away from dying any session, so it doesn't matter.
Now you're the only character who hasn't died yet.
I'm the only one who hasn't died yet, and that's ironic because I'm the one who put myself in harm's way the most. But like you said, it's one die roll away.
We always die roll away.
Just one die roll away from dying, man. So, yeah, character building is my favorite part of it. So I have like 3 characters on the back burner already. Like if I die, I'll just make something else.
Now, as a player who's played into a lot of my other games, and you've expressed you enjoyed my other games, how do you feel like about this particular style of play when we're using
A module.
a module and we're doing really minis heavy style of play, using dioramas and stuff?
It's bittersweet because I like the dioramas and the minis and using those, but a stock story is nothing like one that one of your best friends makes up himself. Like and being involved in his world, it doesn't hold a candle to it. So if there's some kind of like harmonious balance between those two things, that would be utopia campaign. like you know, but
All right. And any other plans with your character in the future that you can think of?
I got some prestige classes I'm messing around with, but nothing yet. I mean, I thought of ways I could break the game with him already,
Right,
obviously, but I'm not
Sure,
going to
sure.
go through with those things. But I just, I eventually plan on once I'm going to get a cohort at 6th level with a leadership feat. I'm going to take the dedicated straight healer class, Vow of Poverty healer. So
The healer
wandering
from Miniatures Handbook.
the healer from Miniatures Handbook, wandering medicine woman, who just does good by healing the sick, and then she can be our healer since no one else wants to play a cleric. So
Right. Matt has shown interest in it.
does he?
Who knows if he'll stick
I
around.
mean, if he's going to be a healing cleric or an undead turning cleric, or what is he going to be? I mean, we don't know. So I'll make a dedicated healer for the party.
Cool. Anything else you'd like to add about your character?
No, I'm pretty much all set.
Well, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Later.